I didn't even know where Vietnam was. Nobody in my town did. But in October 1966, this letter arrived. It said I was selected. Just like that, my regular life was over. Mama didn't say much that morning. She just held on to me tight on the front porch and cried. I told her I'd be fine and that I'd be back before she knew it. But looking at her face, I think she knew everything was about to change. They put a bunch of us on a big green army bus. Looking around at the other guys, I realized I wasn't the only one who had absolutely no clue what we were doing. The first thing they did was take all our hair. They said it was so the lice wouldn't get us. I thought I looked like a boiled egg, but I wasn't allowed to say so. Then there was a man who screamed, a lot, about everything. He told us we were maggots, and that he would turn us into lean, mean, killing machines. I mostly just wanted to make him stop yelling. We spent a lot of time in the rain and the mud, crawling under wires, running until we threw up. They said it was preparing us. Preparing us for what? I still wasn't sure. Before I knew it, I was a real soldier. I had a uniform, a rifle, and a mission. I still didn't really understand why we were there, but I knew I had to follow orders, and the orders were to go across the ocean. Then they put us on a really big plane. It was so big, I thought it couldn't possibly fly. The sunset was pretty though. It made the water on the ground look like fire. I wondered if Mama could see the same sun. Inside, everything was red. It felt like being inside a giant, angry metal beast. We just sat there for a long time, packed in tight with all our gear. We didn't talk much. I don't think anyone knew where we were going. Suddenly, the ramp went down, and there it was. It wasn't red anymore. It was bright, and hot, and dusty. The dust was a color I'd never seen before. It smelled different, too, and there were helicopters everywhere, just like in the movies. But we didn't stay long. They just made us form another line. It was raining now, a lot. It was the kind of rain that makes you wet, even inside your boots. We were boarding another plane, going to another place. I guess that's just what soldiers do. We keep moving. We finally made it to our main camp. It was massive. Tents and sandbags as far as you could see, and the air was always thick with dust and the smell of diesel fuel. It didn't look like home at all. They showed us to our wooden barracks. They called it a hooch. I found my little canvas cot and dropped my heavy bags. It was boiling hot inside, and everybody was just completely worn out from the trip. That first night, I couldn't sleep a wink. The ceiling fans just buzzed slowly overhead, listening to the bugs outside and the distant thumping of helicopters. I just lay there underneath my net, wondering what tomorrow would bring. The next morning, the lieutenant called us out to the edge of the jungle. He pulled out a map and told us we were going on a routine patrol, just to check out the area around the base. He looked serious, so I made sure to hold my M16 extra tight. And then, we walked into the trees. I thought the woods back home were thick, but this jungle was something else. The leaves were bigger than me, the grass was taller than my head, and you couldn't see more than a few feet in front of you. We just walked and sweated. Then all of a sudden, everything exploded. It got real loud, real fast. Dirt was flying everywhere, and everyone started screaming and jumping for cover. I hit the mud behind a big tree, and when I looked up, they weren't on the ground. They were up in the trees, firing right down at us. I just wanted to shrink and disappear. I didn't know what else to do, so I just started running. The captain always said to move fast, so I moved fast. I picked up Tex because he was yelling, and I don't like it when people yell. We ran until the trees stopped shooting at us. Then the big metal birds came back. They made a whole lot of wind and a whole lot of noise, but right then, they were the most beautiful things I'd ever seen. They took the hurt boys away. I was just glad to finally sit down on the mud. I wrote a letter to Mama that night. I didn't tell her about the trees shooting at us, or about Tex. I just told her that the jungle has very big bugs, and that I really missed her fried chicken. I didn't want her to worry. The next day, a guy named Brooklyn showed me how to take my rifle apart. He said if I don't clean the mud out of it, it won't work when the trees start talking again. I told him I liked his hat. We became good friends after that. And then, it started raining, and it didn't stop for months. We walked in the rain, we ate in the rain, and we slept in the rain. Sometimes it rained from the side, and sometimes it even seemed to come straight up from the ground. The only good thing was that the mud stopped smelling like diesel fuel. It just smelled like wet dirt. We visited a lot of little villages. The people there didn't say much, and they looked just as tired of the rain as we were. The captain said some of them might be helping Charlie, but to me, they just looked like they wanted to grow their rice in peace. I always tried to wave at the kids, but they just stared back. That's when I learned that you didn't have to see Charlie for him to hurt you. Brooklyn stopped me just in time. There was a tiny little wire hidden in the grass. He said if I took one more step, I'd be flying all the way back to Alabama, but not in a good way. After that, I didn't look at the trees anymore. I only looked at my boots. I always thought the base was the safe place, but one night, the ground started shaking, and the sky turned completely orange. Brooklyn screamed at me to get up, and we didn't even look for our boots. We just ran. It felt like the whole world was burning down around us, and the noise was so loud, it made my teeth hurt. We ended up in a hole made of sandbags at the edge of the camp. They told us to shoot into the dark, so that's what I did. I just pulled the trigger until the gun got hot. Beside me, Brooklyn was swearing and loading more bullets. I didn't see who we were shooting at. I just wanted the noise to stop. When the sun came up, everything was quiet again. The beautiful trees around the camp were gone, replaced by black smoke. We were all still alive, even Brooklyn, but nobody was celebrating. We just sat there in the mud, drinking cold coffee, looking at what was left. I started to think that maybe coming to this country wasn't such a good idea after all. And just like that, they told me my time was up. I packed my duffel bag and walked back to the big plane. I didn't get any shiny medals, and I didn't change the world, but I got to keep both of my feet, and Brooklyn said that was the best prize a man could ask for. When I got back home, the porch looked exactly the same, and so did Mama. She didn't ask me about the war, or the rain, or the trees. She just made me a big plate of fried chicken and sat next to me while I ate. It was the first time in a long time that I felt completely warm. Sometimes, when it rains real hard, I still think about that jungle. I wonder if the trees are still talking, and if Brooklyn ever made it back to New York. Mama always said that life is like a long walk. You don't always know where the path is taking you, but as long as you keep moving, you'll eventually find your way back home.